So I've never tried to specialize. I've kind of ended up working with, uh, well, actually, I started out working with just general issues, whoever would come to me, I suppose. And then, yeah, it started to kind of naturally, or my practice started to naturally gravitate, I suppose, towards certain types of problems. And not one particularly, but more like a few particular types of problems started coming up, or like coming to me generally. And so those were addictions, people with addictions, alcohol, or mainly alcohol, in fact. And then some use of drugs and stuff as well. But yeah, those started coming to me, and then and that was actually particularly men, sort of middle-aged men with alcohol problems, is quite a common one for me. And then yeah, young women, or well, women between the ages of maybe kind of late 20s to late 30s, with yeah, confidence issues, but mainly things relating to trauma, past trauma. So, you know, old eating disorders and yeah, anxieties and depression relating to trauma. And so those kind of areas, those two areas particularly, started becoming more and more my sort of staple clients, I suppose, really, which is interesting because they're both things that I've experienced myself, you know, having addictions in the past, and also, yeah, having my own complex trauma. So I wondered whether it was just a kind of natural specializing, which I didn't have to put much effort into. And they do say that you kind of attract clients that you can relate to. So yeah, it didn't surprise me in the end.
So what was the reason that you actually wanted to study at Quest?
I guess, yeah, so I had my own experience of really deep anxiety from quite an early age. I think I have memories now of having panic attacks and anxiety symptoms when I was a really young child. But I didn't know that at the time, obviously, and my parents didn't really know what it was. But yeah, I have memories of, yeah, breaking out in hives before my, I don't know, it must have been my 6th birthday party or something. And I remember my mum and dad sort of just saying, oh, you're too excited, just go to bed and sleep it off, you know. And I just remember just feeling so anxious and so nervous about what people would think of me and all of that kind of stuff. And then later on in life as well, started having panic attacks without really understanding what it was. And this was before, you know, all the talk about anxiety was kind of around, and, you know, mental health issues were still quite a taboo. And so, yeah, going to a therapist was like, you didn't do that unless you were crazy, you know. And my mum was really against all that kind of stuff anyway. And so, yeah, I had quite a kind of a tainted view of therapies, you know, and this was kind of in my early 20s. And then, yeah, I started realizing, because, you know, I think this was, you know, I'm sounding really old now, but this was when, you know, computers and the internet and everything was starting to become a more staple thing that people had access to. And I started Googling my symptoms and came up with, like, oh my God, this is a condition. I didn't realize that, you know, this was something that other people experienced. And yeah, and so I realized that it was something I could get some help with, and then decided to look around. So I actually went to a charity called Anxiety UK to begin with, and I found an NLP therapist through there. They assigned one to me, and yeah, and that was my first experience with NLP. So I was in my kind of mid-20s, early 20s to mid-20s, and it saved my life, really, to be honest. I actually was just so amazed at how much of an impact it had on me, and it just really changed my ability to kind of function in the world, really, because I had such crippling social anxiety at the time. So yeah, then I became curious really, and then that wasn't the end of my therapy journey, and all my anxiety. I kind of probably ended that relationship, that therapeutic relationship, a little bit too soon, and then ended up having to go back in. But whenever I sort of went back into a therapy journey again, I always was drawn towards the hypnosis and hypnotherapy side of things. Tried CBT, didn't really work for me. And so, yeah, went back and found another NLP practitioner, and then cognitive hypnotherapist. And and it completely changed everything for me. So after that, when I decided I wanted to change my career from teaching, I thought, right, this is what I want to do, And so, yeah, and then did a little bit of research, found Quest, and instantly just felt like that was the place for me. And then as soon as I went and did the interview, met Bex and saw Trevor teaching, I was like, yep, this is where I'm meant to be. Yeah.
Amazing. So based on your own experience, and then obviously the type of clients you're now working with, if there is anything that you could share with perhaps somebody's looking and they're not really sure whether they're ready to come to therapy, if there is this one thing that could help them right now, what would you say to them?
I would just say, just reach out, just, do what you need to do, and just make that first step, really. I mean, obviously, I can give some tips on how to manage your symptoms and stuff. But yeah, I think making that first step, that first decision to actually reach out and find a therapist who can help you, it's the hardest thing to do. And I remember that feeling myself of just, trying to pluck up the courage and make that phone call or write that email. And you feel so as though the person on the other end is going to judge you, or, are they going to accept me? But that person, whoever you reach out to, they want to hear from you. And actually they're waiting to hear from you. And so, just do it, just make that call. But yeah, in terms of techniques or things that can help, if that's what you mean. One that I always end up going to, I think, is the spinning exercise. I find that so powerful for people, and I still do it myself a lot whenever I kind of feel like I could do with a bit of a shift, or I'm feeling a bit nervous or anxious, having a bad day. That's a really powerful one for me, because I'm very kinesthetic possibly as well, but I know that it works for all my clients, no matter what kind of rep system they are, or how they kind of prefer to view the world. It just changes how you feel inside, and it's such a powerful one. And I know that my clients who I've used it with, a lot of them have said that that's one of the most powerful things that we've done, because they can use it on their own as well. It's something that they always go back to. So so the spinning exercise, which I've got a little link to my own audio that you can download from my website if you want to do that as well. So please go to my website and have a little look through my links. I've got a few audios that you can download from there.